Tesla Hobo here. You're watching the Tesla Hobo channel. Today we got a video that's been a long time coming, and you've probably seen some of these cars in the videos, but we've never actually explained what they are or anything about them. So this is kind of a welcome to the stable video. These are just some of the videos that you're gonna, or some of the cars that you're gonna see in some of the videos that we see. So the first one here is the Retro Rod. This is a 1968 Pontiac Firebird convertible. Just being a 68, this is an extremely rare car, and what has been done to it makes it even more rare. So if you want to go around, you'll see all the paint job is pristine. It's approximately like a $10,000 paint job. This car is on a fully custom aluminum frame, fully custom 4-point suspension with Willwood brakes. The suspension was $8,600. It's dealing with and that's the plate. Don't want you guys knowing what the plates are. So you'll see all the cars today have the paper Tesla Hobo license plates. They allow you to register and drive anywhere in the virtual world of YouTube. Nowhere else. Get a real plate, and we'll take those off, obviously, if we want to take any of these cars on the street, for the license plates that are below them. So we'll see here on the inside, done immaculately, kept with some of the retro gauges. We'll show that again from the other side. All the custom retro gauges, the custom AC that looks like the old stuff. And then we're gonna go to the fun part that you're all waiting for. What's under the hood? So you got the old school cars. There is no hood release. The hood release is a lever. Well, let me reach down here. Struggle. Where? There it is. And we've got the Crate LS1 engine. So if you notice, this engine's pretty low. It's a good 6 inches off the hood. Why is that? Because when building it, room for a blower. Exactly what you always want. That's going to make a good addition. Right now the car just has the long tube headers, the custom 3-inch intake, and is using the mainly the stock accessories and pulleys on this car. But you see too, very clean. All the wiring redone. Everything's nice and clean. You got your kill switch here for your electronics, all the different cables labeled separately, the trickle charger plug, and I'm going to show you that a lot of the other cars, trickle chargers, they're very important, especially when you have a lot of cars that are sitting around like this and they're not all being used. Trickle chargers are very important, but we'll get into that later. But now it's going to be the fun part here. We're going to start her up. So a little intro there. I will recommend to people, do not do that unless the car has already been warmed up. The car's been driven for a good 20 minutes. It's fully warm. I let it sit just a few seconds, get the oil moving around, and then rev it out. Don't ever take a cold car and rev it out like that, because you're not going to be happy with how your car performs after that. All right, so the second one. We've had a video on it. This is the 1989 Dodge Ram Charger. I'll go over this one quickly because we've had a video of it about a month ago, just going over all the stuff of the car. But this is also a completely custom, but this is custom rat rod. A very different type of restoration or modification than the Firebird, obviously. But we'll get that started up and let you hear the Ram Charger. We call it the Death Trap because it's old, it's hard to run, and the steering column fell out last month while driving. Very fun. You could spin the wheel, and it will go nowhere because the steering column came out. And I'll actually show you what came out. If we get the video up in here, this bolt down here came undone, and the whole steering shaft was just hanging down there, doing nothing. All right, so this is a 1989 Dodge Ram Charger, altered to have an Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetor. It used to be electronic fuel injection. Old carbureted cars. Whip out the starter fluid. As you see, it's in there. It's in the cup holder. This car warm up in the background because we haven't. And this thing is crazy. This thing revs up to 7,500 RPM, monstrously high. All right, so the next one is the 2010 F01 code BMW 750 Li. This is the long body. This is the chauffeur vehicle. Someone is laying down in the front seat and there's still room. Let me put this up to the normal seat level and you see. It's great. It's got privacy. Oh, let me put the key in. Start it up and show you. It has privacy balances that go up and down for the passenger. What am I doing? Why am I not recording any of this? But I'll show you what I did last week. So these engines are V8 twin turbos. They get very hot. So I custom installed hood vents here, which help a lot with the heat. But if we come around here with the video, I'll show you why it gets so hot in this vehicle. So this vehicle has what you call a hot V. It is a V8 twin turbo, 4.4 liter. These are the turbos. They are right here. The downpipes are right back here. So all that heat just builds up in the hood and has nowhere to go. So drilled some custom hood vents, and also I put some aftermarket downpipes in there, but you can't see them underneath the airbox. But over time, I have parts ordered. We're gonna make a custom intake for it, that instead of the air right now has to come through here, go through this pipe, go into the air filter, and then come back to go to the turbos. So we ordered custom intake piping to go cone filter up here, go in through here through a 3-inch pipe, a lot of silicone and either plastic or aluminum pipes, and then it'll go straight into the turbos, making sure that all the intake is cold air and is keeping away all that heat from back here. Let me now, I'll let this warm up for a little bit as well, because these cars are also cold. And here's the other one. Here is the fake M5. This is not an actual M5. It is a full bolt-on N54 2009 BMW 535i. This has silicone inlets, silicone outlets. It has hybrid turbos. It has an MHD performance tune that runs off half E85 and half premium. It has a Walbro 265 liter per minute, I think, or a liter per hour. Hellcat upgraded E85 rated fuel pump to be able to get all that E85 up to the engine. It's running about 22 pounds of boost, a little over 500 horsepower. Rear wheel drive, and it's running 12.2 in the quarter. Actually, this one too, I didn't say. So we got the first numbers of this car with just the downpipes on it, which the downpipes don't do anything pre-tuned. So this car is starting at 13.3, and we have some videos up of that at the Braden Motorsports Park. So this car, it looks like it's been sitting forever. It's pollen season. It's been sitting for about a week or two. We have to tune the transmission a little bit. We're getting some weird sounds out of the transmission, which are bad sounds. So make sure we got to take that transmission apart, take it to a shop that we use, Automedic, here in Bradenton, and the owner, Omar, will take it apart, look at it, let us know what's going on, and put it back together bigger and stronger. All right, so let's come back over to the Dodge Ram Charger here. That was it, 7,000 RPM, over 7,000 RPM. Definitely something that you could credit to the carburetor. The original EFI from the 1980s definitely cannot handle that in this engine. This was originally a 319. Now we're going over to the new generation of American muscle car, the Tesla P100D. This one has the ludicrous mode, which almost every single P100D does. We just got this at the track for the first time yesterday. Ran a highest of 11.19, so just a little under 11.2. So it's really weird. You can't do much tuning to these cars right now. There are some companies that you could somewhat jailbreak the software, but not recommended to do that. This still has 3 years of warranty on the battery and the drivetrain, and don't really want to risk hacking software to then have to buy a $25,000 battery. So really the only tunes that we're going to be doing to this car is we're going to be altering tire sizes. So right now it is on 275 35 20s. So what we're going to try is we're going to go up to a 275 40 Pirelli, so we get a little bit of extra height, which hopefully will change the gearing a little bit. That'll give us a little bit more of top end on the car as opposed to the low end grunt, and hopefully we'll get a little bit higher of quarter mile times, as well as higher, actually lower, quicker quarter mile times, as well as quicker 60 to 130 times and quicker 100 to 150 times. But this is the Tesla. It's a 2016 and a half. It's got the new style bumper in the front, all-wheel drive, 100 kilowatt hour battery, and we'll have some fun videos hopefully of this riding along with the Firebird, as well as we have a P90D that you've probably seen in a couple of the videos. It is this car. It was white, had those same rims. We swapped the rims out, but we're also going to take them both to the track just to show the difference of a P90D Ludicrous to the next model, which was 2015, to a 2016 P100D with Ludicrous. And it looks like it's going to be about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. That's the difference. But the big thing is, this car can run those numbers at almost any state of charge. Anywhere from 100 down to 50 or 60% state of charge. This car is going to be within 1/10 of the 0 to 60, eighth mile, quarter mile, all those numbers. Whereas the P90D, once you get below 90, you have a massive drop off in the speeds. So that's the Tesla. Obviously no engine revving to do. I can get in there, honk the horn. I don't really think that's what you guys are looking for. So we're gonna go to the next car. This car has been sitting here forever. And this car has been sitting here forever for years, because when you have a N54 model BMW, the black M5 fake one that we have, you need a spare parts car because parts will break all of the time, especially when you're pushing that kind of power. So you need a junk car. We have an extra interior in there. We've got, if you look in the front here, we got an extra set of rotors, pads, tons of body panels, ECUs, amplifiers. These are just stuff for the houses that we work on. Not going to use light bulbs and light switches in the car. But even if you look here, it doesn't even have a transmission. So it's an engine, just the top. And if you come over at this angle, there's no transmission in there. Nothing. It's just empty and hollow. So that is true spare parts car. Very important, as I said, if you're going to have an N54 or E70 or E60 build, anything that's using the N54 or even the N55, spare parts, you're going to need them. And then here's another one. So this is a 2003 Jaguar XKR. It has the factory, the OEM 4.2 liter V8 supercharged engine. We've had the car, we had an issue a few years ago where Jaguar, in all of their brilliance, decided that the aftercoolers to cool the supercharged air are going to be right over the fuel rail. And you can't just remove this without removing the entire supercharger, which is a 10-hour job. So I had a leak in the fuel rail. So we had to take the whole supercharger off. So while it was off, we decided, hey, let's port and polish the supercharger and put a smaller pulley on. So this car has that port and polish supercharger, smaller pulley. You can see over there on that side, a big custom intake. No company really makes a proper full-size intake for the car. The car's catless, it's on straight pipe, and it's got some really nice 20-inch rims on it. So let us turn this on and rev it up for you. And this is another car the other day that I thought, in the middle of working on something, I normally work on things late, it's just me, not gonna wake up Mrs. Hobo over here to record me, but I started putting in, you can see down here, I started installing a Android touchscreen as well as a TomTom GPS. So put these custom things in a few days ago, which are pretty cool. It's the full version 10 Android. You have everything you could possibly wonder. I'm halfway through, as you see, a lot more parts here. But got everything in. I got the backup camera in. I just don't have the steering wheel controls in, which are very important to me. But here we go. I will get the car started so you can hear the engine on this one. Nice startup sound. We'll let that warm up for a little bit, and we'll go back to the Chevrolet BMW, as I like to call it, and we'll rev it up for you, let you hear it. That's the smoke. That's the fun of brand new catless downpipes. So they've got no cats, plus they have all the oils on there. So that's what that is. We don't have an oil leak in the car. It's just a brand new downpipes. And we haven't, as I said, we haven't tuned it yet. So we have this vehicle, which has the N63 V8 twin turbo, 4.4 liter. And we don't have it here today, but there's also the X5, the silver X5 on 22s. That car has the same engine as this car. So both of the cars, over the course of the next few weeks, we're pulling the ECUs out. We're sending the ECUs to heatsink performance, and they are going to tune them both from the stock 400 up to 650 horsepower, running off, just like this car, off an E85 premium mixture. And the reason we could pump these up so far to 650 horsepower, because these cars, this and the X5, we also have put the giant Walbro E85 fuel pump that we put in the black BMW, full 3-inch custom intakes, as well as they have the catless downpipes. And the heat sinks, we haven't replaced the heat sinks, so these have water-cooled intercoolers that have heatsink blocks. And you can buy the Alpina ones for like $3,000, and they up the cooling by like 10%. But instead, what we did in both of the cars is we upped the cars. We drained the coolant tank and the intercooler coolant tank, and we filled them up with water wetter and distilled water and a little bit of radiator fluid, because it's Florida, it doesn't get cold. We don't have to worry about freeze overs. And having the water wetter in there kept the intake temperatures down where they don't even raise. You could do a 0 to 155 run and you get no heat soak sitting at stoplights. There's no heat soak in the heat sinks. So because we have that extra cooling capacity, and we have the clear flow intake and exhaust and straight pipe, and then the E85, these cars will be beasts. You can even do more than that, but I had the conversation with the company. I said, listen, I don't want to go through the issues that I had with the black car with having to take apart the transmission and beefing it up. What can this transmission hold? I said, what's the weakest link? Is it the engine? Is it the differential, the transmission? They said the transmission. They said stock transmission, 650 pound-feet torque. This is the same transmission that's used in a Rolls, as well as what's used in many other European cars. And factory with them, 600 to 650 pound-feet of torque. So we said, all right, that's what we're going to call it for. We're not going to run it on full E85. We're going to do an E85 93 mix and keep it nice. Something else that you're going to notice in this car too is the height. So if you look at the height right now, we got about 3 fingers worth in the back and 3.5 to 4 fingers worth. This car has full air ride suspension, so we're actually going to, from the factory, just lower it. And here we go, here's the last one. Almost forgot, but I remembered because the car was still running. We got one more engine that we're gonna rev up for you so you can hear what it sounds like. This is a stock 390 horsepower with the port polished supercharger and everything. This is probably running 450 to 500 on premium. Here you go. All right, now this last video, this is like the Marvel Cinematic Universe end credit scenes. For the people that stuck out all the way till the end of the video, there's the surprise. We've got 2 things here sitting under old bedsheet comforters, and these are motorcycles. So we've got, I believe it's a late 90s. So this is a Buell Street Fighter. It does not currently have the battery in it. The battery, as you see, is right there. We have to have the battery replaced, but other than that, she runs great and fine. Prior to the battery dying, that was taken out once every few weeks just to make sure that everything was running right. And then on the other side, this is more for you speed freaks out there. We've got a Suzuki GSX-R 750 with a full carbon fiber and black paint job. As you see too, just like what there was in the 68 Firebird, there is a trickle charger plug built into this vehicle so that while it sits, the battery does not die. So pretty much what you got here is, it's just a basic little power adapter that plugs in. This one specifically is good for motorcycles. You could choose either a lead acid or a lithium ion. This bike actually has an AGM battery in it, but it charges fine with the trickle charger on the lead acid setting. And pretty much you have that on there, so if I really wanted to, ideally you don't, but if the bike has to sit for a month, it will still start. So this bike, we lost the keys for a while. It was in the Mad Max work van that an employee or a contractor of ours was using. And after a few weeks, we finally realized, hey, this is where it is. So let's get this started up here. So as you see, this bike has a number 69. It has also been to the track. No one's really hitting it hard off the line. It's just kind of babied off the launch. But it's running low 11s, high 10s at 135 plus miles an hour. But it's a sport bike. It's fun. With a passenger, it'll get up to 150. With just a single rider, it'll get up to about 175. And I'll do a slight rev on it because I don't want to go too high while it's cold. But look at that, it revs up to 15,000 RPM. We'll let that warm up a little bit. We'll show you some of the parts on it. So as you see, carbon fiber front cowl, carbon fiber sides, more carbon fiber here. The protector on it. Tire's getting a little bald there, a little thin in the middle. It's got the full blinker delete on the back, so no big hanging stalks on the side. They're integrated in. Meanwhile, the Buell has the cheap way of the side marker delete. You just break them and you hang them and you strap them to the license plate. So if you're an avid watcher of the channel, you would have seen this motorcycle racing against the Tesla and the black BMW before it started having transmission problems. This was the lane splitting motorcycle. This is that bike. It's up to 100. It's almost there. Almost enough to rev it up. It's got like 31,000 miles on it, I believe. But it still runs great. Yeah, 30,000 miles. It was a daily driver. So yeah, it was a daily driver for a while. About 5,000 or 6,000 miles was put on it a year. And but it runs great, you know, as long as you get the valves measured, I guess, every probably 3 years, and I think it's 12 or 15,000 miles. You're good to go. You know, you replace the spark plugs, make sure the filter stays clean, and you're good. Big thing on a motorcycle is the chain. Make sure you're always tightening and waxing this chain. A chain should always have a little bit of play. As you see there, that actually has a little too much play, so I will actually be tightening that up a little bit in the next day before I ride it. So here we go. This will be the rev. It's up to 150, so red line rev. The fun. So thank you all for watching all the way to the end. Marvel Cinematic Universe, end credit style. You got to see the motorcycles. But so as we said before, if you want to see these vehicles racing, or if you even want to see them being maintained, because especially the Tesla has very unique maintenance things and repairs to it, click subscribe. And the link right here will be links to these vehicles at the drag strip. Till next time, this is the Tesla Hobo. Thanks for watching.